technology has really allowed us to kind of transform the way that communities are actually cultivated and how individuals work together and communicate with each other. Where do you find that community? And Lisa Zhu from Aaptiv, which is a fitness and audio app, she's going to tell you all about it. She is actually going to talk about how you create product within the space based on a user's needs and their challenges, and I'm going to let her take it.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. So I lead product at Aaptiv, which basically just means that I figure out how to build our app. I'm going to be talking a little bit about the process that we use to figure out how we build the new features into our app. And that, I think, is universal. It doesn't necessarily need to be an app. So if you have a fitness idea in mind and it's not technology-based, a lot of these concepts will still apply. So we have a 5-step process that we use typically when we consider what new features to build. So the first one, it starts with analysis and research. So we're going out, we're trying to figure out, what do our users actually want? What are they doing right now that gives us signals about issues that they're having? And from there, we go on to defining what the problem is and coming up with ideas to solve it. Once we have an idea of how to solve it, we then get into the more specific features of what goes into that. So what are the really detailed requirements that we need to know in order to actually be able to build this feature? From there, we go into design, and then finally building the thing and launching it. And then you'll notice that there's an arrow that goes all the way back to the beginning. After we release a new feature, we always make sure we do our data work and our analysis to see if that feature actually had the impact that we thought it was going to have. So I'm going to do an example, a walkthrough of a case study that we went through at Aaptiv, just to kind of show you how this all works in practice. So that you understand what this case study is actually about, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Aaptiv. We're a startup. We are an audio-based fitness app. We have an app that has over 2,500 different workouts in all kinds of categories. So we've got running, indoor cycling, elliptical, strength training, etc. So it's basically a subscription plan. You pay either $14.99 a month or you pay $100 for the whole year. And the concept behind Aaptiv, in terms of our values, in terms of what we believe, is that fitness should truly be affordable to everyone. Like, you shouldn't have to be able to afford $36 for a SoulCycle class or whatever it is to be able to feel great and look great. It should be something that everybody has access to, and that's kind of the concept behind our business. So this is the process that a new user goes through when they download the app. So when you download Aaptiv from the App Store, you first land on a sign-up screen where we ask you to either enter your email and password, or you can sign up with Facebook. After you sign up, we're asking you to sign up for either a yearly subscription with a 30-day free trial or a monthly subscription. Then you get taken to the homepage where you can select one of the types of workouts you want to do, and then in this case I selected outdoor running, and then I see a list of hundreds of outdoor running workouts, and I can filter down from there in terms of difficulty level and amount of time. So when we first started to kind of figure out how do we improve this app, we wanted to do some analysis and research. And so when we think about analysis, what we're really saying is, what are our users currently doing in the app right now? And then the qualitative piece comes in when we want to answer, why are they doing the things that we're observing them doing? So I'll give you a couple examples. One thing we noticed, so we have a 30-day free trial. So one of the things that we care about the most is how many of our users who go into a free trial actually end up paying for our subscription. So that's one of our main KPIs. It's one of the things that we care about the most. And we notice that people who complete at least one workout in the trial are 80% more likely to actually pay for the subscription. It's not a huge surprise, common sense. If you don't do the workouts, you're probably not going to pay for it. So we dug a little bit deeper, and we realized that members who identified themselves as beginners were actually way less likely to complete a workout. And so we realized there's something there. For some reason, our beginner members are not getting what they need. They're not finding what the workouts that they actually want to do. So we talked to 12 beginner workouts. We pulled a data file of all of the beginner members who did not complete a workout. We got on the phone, we offered them a $25 Amazon gift card, and we asked them, what happened? What was your experience? Why didn't you end up doing any workouts? And these were some of the things they said. So for example, Krista, she's a 22-year-old from LA. She said, my first time using Aaptiv, I had decision fatigue from seeing so many classes. I didn't know which one to take to start with or which one to take. Even when I clicked on a class, I didn't know what equipment you needed. Maria, she's 34 and a mom of 2. She's from Tucson. She said, my frustration was that there was way too much time between me getting a second of free time and getting started working out. There were way more options with Aaptiv. By the time I finally found a class, I'd already lost the momentum to work out. And finally, Jennifer, who's 29 from New Orleans, said, I didn't really give Aaptiv a fair shot. It was a lot of work for me to get started. I didn't know how to use Aaptiv to achieve my fitness goals. Okay, so a lot of information, both quantitative and qualitative. So from there, we felt like we had enough information we needed to start going into the problem and ideation phase. So your problem statement is really just a one-sentence summary of what you believe is the main issue affecting your users. And ideas are obviously the things that you believe will solve those problems. So in a non-fitness example with Lyft, a problem could be users find public transportation to be inconvenient, but Lyft itself is too expensive. And so the solution would be Lyft line. So that's kind of how it works. So we're gonna do an activity right now, and you guys all have your Chromebooks in front of you. So there's a file on there that Sarah is gonna help you find. In the next 10 minutes, what I want you guys to do is write a one-sentence problem statement that describes what you heard in terms of what the issues Aaptiv users are facing. So how would you describe everything that you just heard from those users, both in terms of what they were doing and in terms of what they told us? And then I would like you to sketch out 3 or more potential solutions that come to mind. If you don't have your own personal Chromebook to work with, you can either partner up or use pen and paper, old-fashioned way. Either thing works. And if you are planning on using the Chromebook, Sarah's gonna talk you through how to get the template up and running. So the actual ideation process that we went through, it covered a lot of the same ideas that both of you had mentioned. So we talked about having some sort of quiz to get started. We talked about having a way to filter things out, and then just a better way to recommend stuff to users on the homepage. And so what we eventually settled on was some kind of onboarding quiz followed by a personalized program. So really recommending to them exactly what they should be doing and the sequence they should be doing it in. And so I'm just gonna run through the steps, the following steps in the product process pretty quickly. But the next step would be to, once we sort of had that idea more or less crystallized in our minds, going through and saying in detail, what is it that we're building? So if we're gonna do an onboarding quiz, for example, what are the questions that we're gonna be asking in the onboarding quiz? So that's the next step. I'm not gonna read all this because this is very dense and boring, but this is essentially what you would do if you were to go through this yourself. The next step is the fun part, sort of the design and implementation. So what we actually ended up designing for this particular product looks a little bit like this. So we start with an onboarding quiz, similar to what you said. So we ask users, what is your fitness goal? What is your fitness level? So trying to figure out, are they beginner? Are they an extreme beginner? Or intermediate advanced? And then finally, what sort of equipment or facilities will you have access to? And then in terms of the final product, they land on the home page, and instead of just going straight into all the different workout types, we have a recommended module for them at the top where they're being directed straight into the program that's right for them. Once they click there, they see a program that not only tells them the first workout they should do, but also gives them a series of workouts that should take them through the next 6 weeks, and hopefully by the end of that 6 weeks, they're comfortable enough with their point in their fitness journey that they can go and pick their own workouts or start another program. And so after we launch that feature, the important thing is we go back to the analysis and research phase to figure out whether or not it worked. And so when we did that, we found that users who completed at least one workout during the trial increased by 30% after we launched it, which is awesome. It's a little bit too early to tell what the conversion rate looks like, but we're super happy with the results. And so in closing, I just want to say that this process, even though for the case study, I'm using an app. It really applies to any type of fitness experience. So if you're figuring out how to program your fitness classes, if you're figuring out, if you're trying to open a new fitness studio, even if it's not an app, this whole process of figuring out what it is your users want, and then trying to come up with a problem statement and coming up with ideas, then defining the features, designing and implementing, and then coming back to the feedback process is critical to making sure that you have a product that your users truly love. So any questions about any of that? Yeah, so it's a good question. So right now we don't, but we would really like to improve the accuracy of the metrics that we give users. So we just give you a workout with instruction and music, and then we expect you to take care of your own tracking. Like, we'll give you an estimate roughly of how many calories you burn, but it's not very accurate. And so we definitely want to be able to partner with wearables like Fitbits and Apple Watches to improve the accuracy, but we don't do that now. Okay, cool. All right, thanks everyone.